Hello, everyone, and welcome to Soul Shift Saturdays. My name is Kat Sticker, and today we have a broadcast about herbs. So, as you know, that I work a lot with herbs. I garden, and I'm an herbalist. I use herbs for medicine, and plant medicine is very powerful. So I guess my philosophy on that is it doesn't have to replace your prescription medicine, but it can work alongside with it in certain cases. Now, some herbs do not work with medications. You have to look at the contraindications for those medications. So it's best to consult with your doctor if you're on prescriptions to make sure there's not a conflict, because in some cases it can counteract your medicine so that your medicine's not effective, or make it too much so where you get kind of an overdose. So it can be very dangerous if you are taking prescriptions to also mix herbs with that. So you want to be really careful. I like to give that as a caveat that if you're pregnant or nursing or have special medical conditions, you really need to talk to your doctor before taking herbs, because they are a natural medicine and they have a lot of powerful properties. But for me, I'm not on any medications. I'm not pregnant or nursing, so I use herbs quite a bit. And today, what I want to talk about are herbs that help support the digestive system. Oh, okay. Look, I got people on. I got Dash. I got Michael. Let me see who else is on. I'm going to just get on my little Facebook group here, since I gave the precautions already on what we can't do with herbs, or what we should be careful about. Okay, here I am. All right, I just want to look at the comments and see who's talking. I have the comments on there, but I can't see your names. All right, so we are broadcasting live from our Soul Shifters Guild. Put a little banner on there, Soul Shifters Guild Facebook group. But we're also on YouTube on the Moonglow Life channel, and on Twitch on the Moonglow Life channel. So we got it going on today. All right, well, guess what? I have a little presentation to share with you, because we're going to go over these herbs. And originally, I think I might have even put on there 7 herbs, but we have a bonus herb because I couldn't decide on I was thinking lucky number 7. We should go with 7. It's a heavenly number, but I couldn't decide on 7, so we have 8. And I'm going to try to get through these. I made a little presentation about that. All right, so let's see. Whoops, I think I went too far. The first one I want to talk about here is peppermint, because so I've had stomach problems pretty much my whole life, even when I was little. And it's kind of unknown causes, really. I've had a lot of doctors look at that, and really what I think it is because, you know, body, mind, and spirit are all connected, that a lot of the stress and anxiety that I had throughout my life, a lot of the fear, anger, and issues like that caused a lot of problems with my digestive system and pain. I had a lot of stomach pain. I did have gallbladder surgery in 2012, and that didn't solve it. But you know what has helped tremendously are herbs, and currently I don't take any medications, any prescription medications for my stomach. If I have an issue with my stomach, I rely on herbs to take care of that. And one of the main go-to ones I have is peppermint. So peppermint, easy to get, right? You can get it at the grocery store. You can grow it really easy in your garden at least certain times of year. And you can grow it in your windowsill. You can get essential oils. You can suck on the little peppermint candies if they have like real peppermint oil in there. And peppermint is a powerful herb for digestion. It helps with gas. It helps with bloating. It helps with diarrhea. It helps with like muscle cramps in your stomach. And I've just found it really powerful. Now, it can be very strong, so if you take too much peppermint, it's actually really bad for you. So you have to be careful on how much you're consuming. But there's other properties of peppermint that are really helpful. First, let me say, don't get it near your eyes. That's the mistake everyone who works with essential oils makes when they first work with peppermint, is they touch the peppermint and then somehow they touch their face and it like gravitates into their eyes and you're like, my eyes are burning. Well, it doesn't make you go blind or anything, but it doesn't feel great for a little while when that happens. Now, if you get some essential oils in your eyes, do not wash it out with water. That makes it worse. Water drives essential oils down deeper into the flesh, and it will drive it down deeper into your eye, and it will keep burning. Might even burn worse. So what you want to do instead is use a carrier oil, just a non-reactive oil. You can use like fractionated coconut oil. You can use even something like olive oil. Any kind of carrier type oil will help flush that out. I mean, you can even use like vegetable oil or something because those molecules will bond with the molecules of the essential oil and get that out easier. And it doesn't feel good to have, any kind of oils in your eyes, but it's not going to, it's going to take away that burning sensation. Whereas if you do water and oil don't mix, so that's going to cause more of a problem for you. I never took off my little Soul Shift Saturday banner. But now, so peppermint is also can be used for relief of headaches, and it can open up your sinuses. Like if you smell it, you know how strong peppermint can be, where the fumes kind of get to you. Well, that helps open up your sinuses. You can diffuse some of that. It'll make you feel more alert because it boosts your attention. It'll boost your mood and open up those sinuses. So there's other properties to it. Now, to use it for your digestive system, you can diffuse an oil. You can rub some on your stomach, or you can make a tea out of the leaves, or like I even put a drop of peppermint or some peppermint leaves in my coffee because I like the flavor of peppermint coffee. Believe it or not, I think that tastes good. Most people put it more like in a tea, but that can really complement your beverage. And even water, you can just put some leaves in some water, and that will be delicious as well. So there's many delicious ways you can use peppermint because it tastes good. Peppermint for the win, yeah. All right, enough about peppermint, you guys. Let's move on. Now, the next one I have is fennel. Fennel is my other powerhouse and another go-to oil. It works really well with peppermint. And so actually, like doTERRA has a blend that has peppermint and fennel together in it. Fennel tastes really good in your food too. So I grow fennel in the garden, and it's a bulb. It's sort of like celery. It doesn't taste like celery, but it looks sort of like celery. You know, it has the long stalks, and if you slice up the bottom, that looks sort of like celery when you slice it. But it doesn't taste anything like celery. It has kind of more of a licorice type flavor to it. And the little, I love the little fine leaves on it. They're little fronds like ferns, and they're really soft. And those smell just like, I mean, I use the soft fronds in cooking too. It makes a really pretty garnish. And when I roast vegetables, like I put some of that, clip some of that up on there, and it looks real pretty and it tastes good. Lends some really this rich layer of flavor to your food, and it has all these digestive properties to it. So just like peppermint, you know, it reduces gas and inflammation in the stomach, but it also has a lot of other good properties too that I've listed here. It helps with blood pressure. It's good for respiratory issues, and I don't know, protects the eyes from inflammation. Who gets inflammation in the eyes? Probably not many people, but I do. Actually, I get this thing called uveitis from time to time where my eyes swell, my eyeballs swell, can cause a lot of vision problems for me. And so fennel's really good for that too. Of course, you're not going to put fennel in your eyes. You consume it and it will lend those properties to your whole body. So you can, again, you can like chop it up, put it in your food. You can make a tea out of fennel. It's really delicious. So you should try that if you haven't tried it. All right. So what's my next one? Catnip. I thought catnip was just for kitty cats. Can we also consume catnip? Will it make us roll around, go crazy, and play with cat toys? Well, catnip is actually good for people as well as for cats. And it doesn't affect us in the same way. You know, it's kind of like, I don't know if it's a hallucinogen for cats, but it makes them kind of drunk and crazy. For people, it helps improve our digestion. And so a little bit of catnip tea goes a long way. So Mike will see me make catnip tea. I buy catnip by the pound, dried catnip by the pound, and I dole some out for the cats, and I dole some out into little jars for myself. And I add catnip into a lot of different teas because it has a lot of different effects with it that come with it. It's really good for anxiety. So any kind of anxiety blend, you can put some catnip in there, and it's part of the mint family, so it has a good flavor to it. It doesn't taste bitter or anything like that. It's very smooth, kind of a background flavor, not too strong like peppermint, and it just blends into whatever kind of tea you put it into. So it works well with lavender and peppermint and all those other kind of soothing herbal teas like you might drink at night. It's also really good for the feminine cycle, the menstrual cycle. I've also heard it's good for like the menopausal cycle. It helps to reduce cramps. And also people use it for headaches. Now I haven't really had much luck with catnip with the headaches, but for these other things, yes. And natural bug repellent. So if you grow catnip in your garden, if you can grow catnip in your garden, maybe put it next to the patio so you can sit out without mosquitoes. That would be good. Now we can't grow catnip in our garden. Why? Because we have cats everywhere. And these cats, they come and they eat the catnip right out of the ground. And you only have catnip for one day, and then the cats have like destroyed it. That's the good part about cats. They're so cute, and they'll just take what they want. All right, so let's see what's next on our list here. Chamomile. Now, you know how Peter Rabbit's mother threatened him with some chamomile tea. I think that was chamomile tea. And he seemed not to like chamomile tea. Well, I don't know what was wrong with Peter Rabbit, because chamomile tea is delicious. Chamomile is a flower, and they look like sort of like daisies, but smaller. And it has a smell that's almost like honey. It's really a sweet smell and a sweet flavor, very mild. Chamomile is so good for your digestive system, but it can make you pretty sleepy. So you really want to take it around bedtime, otherwise you might feel a little bit like you need a nap. But it helps with ulcers, if you have like IBS or diarrhea. Also, these type of herbs that kind of calm you down and make you sleepy, they're good for anxiety usually. And chamomile in particular is really good for the skin. So whether you take it internally or make some kind of poultice or lotion with it, you know, chamomile is very soothing. So if you have bug bites and irritations or eczema, something like that, chamomile can really take that away or help reduce it greatly. So it's also given when you're sick and you have like a fever, a headache, and that kind of thing. Maybe that's why Peter Rabbit got it, because I think he fell into a watering can. He probably got a little cold from that, so we got some chamomile tea. So it's delicious, trust me. You should add some chamomile to your pantry. And you can buy it dried, or you can just buy tea bags, chamomile tea bags already made up for you to take. Those are really good. All right. And if you guys have any questions about these herbs as we go, just you can type in a comment and I will try to answer it. Now, I couldn't leave out lavender, and I almost left out lavender because I'm like, oh, everybody knows everything about lavender, right? Because lavender is such a common herb. It's everybody loves lavender, and it's not my favorite. But that was actually the 8th one that I decided to add in, and it's not 8th in the series because I felt like it was really important and need to be up there with the chamomile. But I don't know, if you know me, I'm not big on the smell of lavender. It's too strong of a flower smell for me, and the taste is very flowery, so it's not my favorite. But lavender is like one of the most powerhouse herbs that you can get. This herb does just about everything, and certainly one of the focuses of lavender is on digestion. If you feel nauseous, if you're sick to your stomach, this is going to help calm your stomach down. Any kind of upset stomach, any kind of the gas bloating, just like peppermint. But say you don't like peppermint, try lavender instead. And most people do like the flavor of lavender and the smell of it. It's one of the most popular herbs there is. So you should definitely try it if you haven't, for digestive issues. At the same time, just like chamomile, it can make you feel sleepy. Probably not as strong of a sleepiness as chamomile does, because chamomile is like in the sleepy time tea. But lavender will give you that sense of calm. I put it on the bottom of my children's feet at bedtime, and it can reduce mood swings. So when the kids are like fighting and stuff, I used to like hold them down and rub some lavender on the bottom of their feet so that they would then calm down. So it's really good for the children as well. And it can be absorbed through the skin. You can diffuse it into the air. You can rub it right on your stomach, on the outside of your stomach, and you'll get the benefits from that, believe it or not. Or you can drink it in a tea. And I feel like when I take the herbs internally, it acts faster on the stomach than if you put it on the outside. But putting it on the outside is also an option if you don't like the flavor of the herbs. And so that's a lot of times the way I use it with the kids is put it on the outside. Now, a lot of these herbs, you want to, if you're using like an essential oil, you want to dilute it first. And we do that just like when I told you about if you get it in your eye. For the same way on the skin, you can take 1 drop of essential oils and like a teaspoon or tablespoon of a carrier oil and dilute that and then apply it. You can even make a little roller bottle out of it with just a few drops of essential oil and the rest of carrier oil. That kind of like stretches out. You don't really need that much. So it helps stretch out that essential oil and last longer, and then it's less expensive for you. Also, you want to make sure, well, I'll get to the precaution slide at the end. I always, try to, I'm a risk manager, so I try to bring up any kind of precautions as we go. But I do have a precaution slide at the end. All right, so also lavender, very good for your skin. It relieves itching. So like when you get bites, mosquito bites, anything like that, it's another good one for stopping itching. And including, you can put it into your shampoo, or one thing, if you don't want to buy the essential oil, you can make like a tincture out of the dried herb, and then use that tincture in things like your shampoo. And it's good for dandruff and other skin irritations. You can put it right on there. Yep. All right. So lavender, definitely one you need in your toolkit. All right, licorice. Does anybody like the black licorice? I've never liked licorice candy. I don't like that. Now, the flavor of actual real licorice, it's like kind of a bark. It is good, and you can put it into a tea or a tincture. It is very good for the stomach. It has a lot of digestive oriented properties to it. Antispasmodic, that means it keeps you from having cramps. It's good for soothing ulcers, making that, reducing that stomach acid. It's an antacid. It's good for heartburn, acid reflux, all that stuff that we tend to get as we get older. Adding some licorice into your diet is a pretty good idea, and it's very flavorful, not bitter. So if you can find a way to add it to things, if you like the flavor, it really can blend in and give an unusual flavor to some things that you might not be expecting it in. It doesn't just have to be beverages. I'm thinking you could put it into some desserts or some savory dishes, like maybe I'm thinking like greens. You can mix it in with some greens. So it has antiseptic properties, so it's really good for infections, and also it's good for skin conditions. So you notice a lot of these herbs that are really soothing for the stomach are also soothing for the skin, aren't they? And a lot of times they're soothing for the nerves. So they have multiple properties, and we don't just have to rely on one herb for an action. There's literally hundreds, if not thousands, of herbs that are going to do the same thing. So pick the one. I'm trying to show you ones that are abundant and common and easy to find, not expensive for you to get. So try these out. Now, I can't say that licorice candy has any real licorice in it. I have no idea because I don't really buy that. I wouldn't think so. I don't know. It's probably just a flavor. Now, who's seen cleavers? Do you ever see this stuff growing in your yard? And it has kind of like a long stem. It's sticky and it sticks to stuff. It's like a weed. It is a weed. It's considered a weed. And I think I just made my presentation go down. Hold on. All right, there we go. Sorry about that. Dang it, I did it again. Told you we're going to get to that precautions slide. All right, cleavers. Let me stick with cleavers. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm touching something, making it go away. So for cleavers, this is a weed that grows in your yard, usually in the spring. Sometimes it comes back in the fall. And this grows over everything, and it grows super fast. Well, did you know that you can make a tonic out of that? You can boil it and eat it like a green. You can put it in salads and stuff like that. It's a good diuretic. So if you have kidney and bladder issues or urinary tract issues, this is good for you. So you might even want to make a tincture out of it so you can save it for later, because cleavers doesn't last that long on the ground. It only lasts for, I don't know, maybe a month around here, and then it gets little cute flowers on it, little yellow flowers, and then it just disappears like overnight. But this is really good for the stomach, and also it's good for the skin again. And also it does support the respiratory system, like if you have bronchitis or you have a cold, chest cold or something. It's also good to drink the tonic for that. And this is something that's free. And I really can't say, does it grow all over the United States, but it grows prolifically here, and it just starts taking over everything, almost like kudzu, but smaller. And it just starts growing on everything, and it tries it tends to go towards the plants that you planted and take them over. I used to rip this stuff out and throw it away. I'm like, oh, it's sticky. I don't like it. It's clinging to me. Well, that was before I knew that it was like a medicinal herb. And so ever since I found that out, now every weed that grows in the yard, I check it to see if it's a medicinal herb or not. And this is one of the good ones. All right. And then this is the last herb on the list, plantain. This is another weed, ones that people try to get rid of on their lawn. It grows where people walk a lot. That makes it grow more. So it's pretty hardy herb. Broadleaf plantains gets bigger leaves, and then there's like a smaller plantain. The broadleaf is supposedly has stronger medicinal properties. It has bigger leaves, grows in kind of clumps around the ground. And when you're foraging for wild herbs, you need to make sure that is actually that herb and not a lookalike, because there's a lot of lookalikes and it's easy to get confused. So it's one way to get comfortable that it's the right herb is buy some seeds for that wild forest herb and grow it in a pot until you know what it looks like and tastes like, and you know that it's the real thing because you planted it yourself. And then, you know, you can compare to what's growing in the yard and make sure it's the same thing. That's a good way to really confirm. There are some like little apps that you can take a picture of and it can identify it. And I've used that and identified some herbs that I thought were, you know, what I thought it was, and it was something else. And so you're like, whoa, I could have sworn it was the one I thought, and it wasn't. So you have to be really careful when now, one thing, if you're foraging for wild herb and you think it's one and it's another one, if it's like a poisonous plant, normally it'll have a bad flavor and it can cause like burning around your mouth. Those are some clues that you need to put that right back, you know. So you don't want to just eat a whole salad with something you found outside until you're 100% sure that that's not a poisonous plant, or you might get really sick. So plantain is something that's really good for wounds. Plantain, you can make a little poultice out of and put on open wounds, stings, sores, burns, things like that, and it will help heal it right up. It's also good for digestion. So whether you make a tea with it or just eat it, put it in a salad, if you like the flavor, you can use it that way. All right. And then the last one is the precautions, which I already went over all of these. And I just, I think the only one I didn't really say is if you are using essential oils, they're not all equal. There are essential oils like you can get anywhere nowadays. You can get at Walmart or the grocery store. And most of them will say for external use only. You know, they don't want you consuming them because a lot of times those things are not actually the real essential oil. It might not even contain 10% of the oil it says it is. And it will have a lot of additives to it. So you really don't trust those off-brand oils. You want to get one of the trusted leading brands of oils that are made for consumption. So for instance, doTERRA, which is the one I use and I sell. And then Michael uses Young Living and he sells that. Those are both really good leading brands that we can trust to not, irritate our skin, cause us to be sick. They are pure and essential. So, all right. I think that's it for my presentation, but I want to, let me see if I can remove that. There you go. All right. So I like doing a little slideshow on the oils. Are there any questions about like digestive herbs? There's so many digestive herbs. I just picked a few that are, the ones that I use the most, the ones that are the most common, that are real easy to get and that people like. But there's many, many other herbs that are good for digestion too. So don't think that you're just limited to those. Any herb that you use, and say you have an herb that you use for something else, look up the properties and see what all it does, because it might be known for one thing, but then have all these other properties you didn't know about. Because like, for instance, with lavender, people use that for anxiety and for sleep. But did you know that it's so good for your digestion, right? So there may be properties on an herb you already have that you didn't even know about. Ginger. Yeah. Oh, so Sharon, I could have put ginger on the list. I mean, I could go on and on. Ginger is certainly one that's recommended for nausea. It's for upset stomach. Ginger is not one that I use that much. I don't really like ginger too much, but I remember when I was pregnant that they did give me that for nausea. And I was like, oh, it's making me worse. But you know how you are when you're pregnant. But ginger is, yeah, really a go-to one. And so like you can combine these different herbs into a tea blend. So there's a little bit of this one and a little bit of that one, like maybe licorice and ginger, and then put something else with it, maybe some cinnamon and orange peel or something in there, and make a real flavorful drink that you could have and that tastes really good. So you don't just have to use that one herb by itself. You can mix it with other ones and get something that really tastes good to you, because it's important that it tastes good. You don't want to just drink something that doesn't taste good. And so there are a lot of, when an herb is bitter, it's really good for your digestive, but who wants to consume bitter stuff? Like, I don't know. I guess some people might like bitter flavor, but not me. I don't know. My kids wouldn't eat something bitter. So that's why I try to present ones that aren't as bitter. But certainly that bitter herbs are normally good for digestion. Which one do you think is best for nausea? For me, peppermint is the best one for nausea. But I like peppermint. Now, if you don't like peppermint, the smell of it, then it might make your nausea worse. So I think that's a personal preference on that. But certainly peppermint and ginger are some that are kind of targeted towards nausea. Yeah. And I think chamomile does a good job on pretty much all the stuff with the stomach. It's really it's a very calming herb, but again, it's gonna make you pretty sleepy. So I wouldn't drink it in the morning or you're gonna be like going to work really tired. You know. All right, well, thanks for joining Sharon and Dash and Michael. And if y'all have any other questions or you have herbs that you like to use, just post about them in the Soul Shifters Guild Facebook group. And I'd like to hear about what your favorite herbs are for digestion. And I'm sure there's probably ones that aren't on the list here, like Sharon had the ginger. And I look forward to seeing what you guys like to use. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye. Have a great weekend.